Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something I think we all feel, right? The struggle with information overload and how we try to cope, often by just wanting the short version.
Absolutely. That whole TLDR mindset. Too long, didn't read.
Exactly. It feels like the default response now to anything that demands real-time or, mental energy.
And that's precisely what we're getting into today. We're looking at Greg Elkan's devotional series, which is actually titled TLDR, Too Long, Didn't Read. His whole point is that this habit, this reflex, it's costing us big time.
Costing us what exactly? Deeper understanding.
Profound understanding, yeah. Foundational knowledge. He argues it's not just about spiritual stuff, though that's his main focus, but really any complex topic.
Okay, so let's define this term properly first. TLDR. It's internet slang, obviously. Too long, didn't read. Kind of dismissive, right?
Usually, yeah. It popped up, around 2002, and it even made it into the Oxford Dictionaries online in 2013. So it's definitely stuck around.
And Elkan frames this within this idea of an information deluge.
He really paints a picture, says, we live in a world super saturated with information. And the numbers are kind of staggering when you hear them together.
Lay them on us.
Okay, so over 1.4 million books published every year, 240,000 newspapers daily.
Wow.
And online, forget about it. 152 billion emails sent today, 500 million tweets. Daily.
That's a lot. It explains why our attention spans feel, shredded.
Exactly. This constant flood trains us to look for the quickest takeaway. Speed over substance becomes the norm.
Which brings us to Elkan's main example.
Yeah.
The Bible. He flat out says it's definitely not a book suited for this age.
Right, because it's the total opposite of TLDR. It's not just one book. It's a library, basically. 66 different books.
And the word count is massive. It's like over 780,000 words in the King James Version.
Yeah, it's huge, complex, interwoven. You can't just glance at it.
And Elkan points out a generational shift here, doesn't he?
He does. He says, past generations might have struggled with literacy or just getting their hands on a Bible. But our issue is different. We have access, often multiple versions on our phones, but we often don't bother opening it. It's like we mentally slap TLDR on the cover.
But hang on, let me push back slightly here. If the goal is truth, spiritual or otherwise, why does it need to be so complicated? In our busy lives, isn't there a place for simplification? Shouldn't important stuff have a clear, accessible summary?
That's a really fair question, and Elkan tackles it head on. He says, quite bluntly, reality and truth does not come in discrete, bite-sized chunks of data. His analogy is knowing a person. You can't really know someone deeply after just 15 minutes, right?
No, of course not.
So similarly, he argues you can't grasp deep truths, especially eternal ones, just by reading a few highlight verses, those memory verses. You miss all the context.
So it's not about finding shortcuts. It's about putting in the work.
That's exactly it. Elkan uses the phrase, gems are never found on the surface. You have to dig.
Like searching for treasure.
Precisely. He connects it to scriptural commands like search the scriptures. That word search implies effort, investigation, not just skimming.
And study to show yourself approved unto God. Study isn't a quick glance.
No, study implies deep engagement, time, effort. The opposite of TLDR.
Now, you mentioned TLD. Itself's changed. It wasn't always about providing a summary.
Right. Initially, it was just dismissive, like, nope. Too long, didn't read it, don't care.
Yeah, snub.
But then it evolved. People started using TLDR at the end of their own long posts to provide a short summary for others.
Ah, so it became functional.
A tool.
Exactly. And this new use, the summary function, it spread. Elkan notes it's now in, respectable journals, news articles, and magazines.
But he sees a danger there.
A specific danger. It's not the summary itself that's inherently bad. The problem is when we use that summary as a substitute for the actual content.
Gotcha. So it's okay to read the summary to see if you want to read the whole thing, but not okay to only read the summary and think you know it all. Precisely. It's the difference between getting the gist, the absolute basic point, and understanding the foundations, the nuances, the why.
Like reading a complex article, maybe on sugar. It covers history, chemistry, industry.
Yeah.
But the TLDR is just sugar is bad for you.
Right. You get the takeaway, but you miss all the supporting evidence, the context, maybe even important exceptions or details.
And applying that to Scripture.
Well, Elkan says you could cheekily call John 3.16 or Romans 6.23 the TLDR of the Bible. And they do summarize the core message of salvation in a way. But he argues they grossly omit a whole lot of information that is necessary for anyone to know God, serve him, or grow spiritually. You lose so much.
He uses a great analogy for this, the keyhole.
Yeah, relying only on memory verses is like peeping into a garden through a keyhole. You see a tiny fraction, maybe something beautiful, but it's narrow, limited. You don't see the whole landscape.
So his advice is, jump in. Don't be afraid of the complexity.
Exactly. Dive into the whole thing, even the parts that seem tedious genealogies, boring rites, and ancient narrations, because it's all part of that landscape.
Which leads to this idea of the cost of simplification, the loss of nuance. He uses a movie example.
He does, yeah. From I, Robot, the 2004 film. Remember that scene?
Vaguely. Refresh my memory.
Okay, so Detective Spooner, Will Smith's character, asks Dr. Susan Calvin, the robopsychologist, what she does. She gives this super technical answer about advanced robotics, hardware to wetware interfaces, robotic anthropomorphization.
Right, total jargon.
And Spooner's just like, so what exactly do you do? And she simplifies it way down. I make the robots seem more human.
Okay, much clearer.
But then she adds the punchline, not really, no, and that's Elkan's point.
Ah, because the simplification lost all the important detail.
Precisely. Dr. Calvin knew there were nuances, layers of information, and even meaning that is lost each time you try to simplify a complex concept. You lose something vital.
And this applies directly to texts like the Bible. Elkan calls it an intricate book written by complex characters conveying profound truths.
Yeah. Trying to read it like a simple storybook, like a children primer, just looking for easy lessons. He says that's basically guaranteed to lead to misunderstanding.
It explains why people get frustrated, though.
Yeah.
You hear questions like, why didn't Jesus just come out and say he was God?
Or why all those complicated laws from Moses instead of just believe?
Why did Isaiah talk about some ancient king when he was really prophesying something bigger? It seems roundabout.
But Elkan's argument is that reality itself is complex. And spiritual reality even more so. You can't just rip these ideas out of their historical and cultural context.
So real understanding means doing the work, learning about the authors, their language, their world.
Yes, you have to immerse yourself in their world to get what they were truly saying. Anything less, Elkan warned, results in shallow theology at best or erroneous doctrine at worst.
And that's not just for theology, right? That applies to understanding history, law, science, anything complex.
Absolutely. Skimming a historical document without knowing the context, or reading a scientific study's conclusion without checking the methods, it's the same shortcut, the same risk of error. The context protects you.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the dangers and the difficulties, but Elkan doesn't leave it there, does he? He talks about rewards.
He really shifts gears. He frames deep study not as a chore, but as a treasure hunt.
I like that. So the TLDR mindset just skims the surface.
Missing the riches buried within.
Exactly. And what are these riches? What are the rewards for digging deeper?
He talks about things like spiritual clarity, real wisdom, a deeper intimacy with God. He quotes the psalmist, I have found thy word as one that findeth great spoil.
Spoil, like treasure after a battle or discovery. That sounds intense, joyful.
Yeah, it's not the feeling you get from a quick glance. It's the reward for the search, for the effort.
He uses Solomon as an example here too, right?
Perfect example. King Solomon. He didn't just ask for, basic knowledge. He prayed for an understanding heart. Deep wisdom.
And that deep understanding guided his rule, made him legendary.
Right. Elkan contrasts this with the TLDR crowd who want instant answers. But, he says, shallow reading yields shallow faith. Or shallow understanding in any field, really.
There's also that image of light, Psalm 119. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path.
Yes. And think about the difference. Skimming is like maybe glancing at a map briefly, hoping one headline tells you where to go.
Well, deep study.
Deep study, reading slowly, maybe praying over it if it's scripture, asking questions, wrestling with it. That's like actually lighting the lamp. It makes the next step clear.
It's transformative. You mentioned Augustine.
Yeah, Elkan brings up Augustine's famous conversion experience back in 386 AD. It wasn't just a casual read. He deeply studied a passage in Romans 13, and felt it as a direct, life-changing call from God.
So the reward isn't just abstract knowledge. It's practical.
Absolutely. Clarity for decisions you have to make, wisdom when you're facing trials, that sense of genuine connection or understanding.
Okay, so wrapping this up, this deep dive into Greg Elkan's thoughts, really highlights a conflict in our modern lives.
It really does. It forces us to see the distinction between just wanting the gist, the quick summary, and seeking the necessary nuance, the stuff you need for real deep understanding.
And his warning is pretty stark. Don't let the speed of the world, the constant demand for brevity, rob you of these riches.
It's a challenge, isn't it, to resist that pressure for simplification, because we do sacrifice meaning for speed constantly.
So what's the takeaway for listeners? What's the challenge Elkan leaves us with?
He suggests something very practical, a small start. He says, basically, today, pick something complex. Maybe it is a Bible passage like Psalm 119 or John 6.
And do what with it?
Spend just 15 minutes, but really study it. Don't skim. Engage with it. Ask God for one insight, one piece of revelation from it that could help guide a choice you're facing right now.
That's a powerful, practical challenge.
It really forces the question Elkan poses. Are you willing to stop just skimming for scraps and actually start digging for the real treasure, the deeper revelation?
A challenging thought indeed. Where are we settling for the TLDR when we really need the full story? Lots to think about there.
This was an audio recording of Elkan's Word for Today, the WhatsApp devotional by Greg Elkan. For more information and other edifying resources, visit us at www.gregelkan.com. That's GREGELKAN.com. You can send your comments or questions by WhatsApp to 234-813-664-2912. God bless you.